Howdy all, Big Country here with Big Country Survival. Please forgive the lack of a visual. I'm sitting here on the porch enjoying the cool of the evening. But, just sitting enjoying my evening. And I got to thinking about something I did on the video, not the last video I did, but the one on ramps. And in this term that I guess I kind of, as far as I know, I coined it, I came up with it, is, you know, a living cache. You know, you want to have a living food cache. You know, I mean, we've all heard about having caches, you know, like bury a piece of PVC pipe with both ends capped off in a spout that you can come at a later date and dig up, right? Well, I like to see my property as sort of a living cache for wild edibles, and that's something I have been trying to do, trying to keep going. For instance, the ramps, I've transplanted those into that area, and oh, excuse. But we're looking at hopefully building that up. You know, they'll come within, you know, a couple more years. I'll have enough probably to harvest. As long as it keeps going the way it's going, give it another couple of years and I'll have enough to harvest. You know, persimmons is another example. It's a wild tree. I'm sure y'all have, you know, like down in Texas, people have like prickly pear and stuff that they can eat, right? You can eat prickly pear, and I'm sure there's a lot like I don't know. I mean, I'm not overly familiar with the wild edibles down in Texas, but you know, I do know a fair bit in this area, right? So the theory behind a living cache is you go and you transplant a wild edible onto a specific piece of property, something native to the area, but it might not be in that area, right? Like, for instance, you have a bug out location, right? If you have bug out property, in this area with a stream running through it and woods, well, it might be a good idea to go and transplant ramps, right? Because ramps like streams in the shade. You know, they like semi-dark, you know, shaded areas with a very, very close source of water. So something also to think about, those of y'all who might be in this area in the springtime, right? But well, you know, it's not going to hurt you. You go ahead and you get a hold of some of them. If you're in this area, you can probably buy them off of somebody who goes, or go ramping yourself. You know, this is just an example with these ramps. You can do this with persimmons, with pawpaws, you know, any wild edible that is growing in your area, right? Plant the tree, plant the bush, plant the seed, plant the bulbs, plant something on your bug out location, right? Or even on your homestead, like which is for me. This is my homestead. This is like if I'm leaving this area, like if I'm leaving here, it is a complete and utter disaster, because my primary plan is to stay put, right? I mean, things have had to have gotten really bad for me to be leaving to a bug out location. Or there's a fire, in which case all bets are off. um, but anyway, yeah, fire, not good. But for those of you who do have remote locations, you're not living on this concept of a living cache. I think is going to be ideal for you, at least as part of the plan, because you're not going to be up there every day to tend a garden properly. I mean, you're not, most likely. What you're going to want is a good source of wild edibles that are right there and handy, so that if you come up, and you want them that they're in season at all times of the year, right? You're going to want, I mean, they're wild, but in a sense you are kind of involving yourself in agriculture, right? But so they can take care of themselves. You're just giving them a start in that area. You know, and I'm going to be doing something with mushrooms here in the near future. Not the happy kind. Not the kind that make you hear smells. But like maybe some domestic mushrooms and some tame one. You know, the shiitake and all that kind of junk. I might be doing something like that. Well, I definitely am going to be doing. I'm just not sure what type of mushrooms I'm going to be doing this setup with, but I will definitely do a video. And what I'm going to do, essentially, I'm going to make like log cabin walls, very rough log cabin walls. I'm not, you know, chinking or any of that. I mean, it's just stack them up kind of like a log cabin, roughly, and drill holes in the logs and the sides like every so many inches, and excuse me, put the spores for the mushrooms in those holes and cover it with food grade wax, so you have some work on the setup, but it's going to produce for years and years to come, no matter what. You know, of course you have to do this in the dark in the woods and all of that, right? But that's something that you can do. It involves, you know, a little work right there at the onset, but you're gonna have that going no matter what, right? Like, you're gonna have that going, and you don't have to really do anything other than go out and harvest mushrooms. It's easy calories, easy nutrients. Another benefit of planting things like persimmons and pawpaws and all that, you're going to draw wildlife to your area for trapping, hunting, etc. This is beneficial now, and hopefully you will have this as a partial food source. This should not be your plan for long-term sustainability. I'm not saying that should not be your plan for long-term sustainability, but it will give you the boost if for some reason all of your food ruined, right? Everything you may have had stored at your location, all the food you've had stored at your location is ruined, or you know, it will at very least be a supplement for that food, right? This is something to set up. It doesn't require a lot of work, doesn't require a lot of tedious maintenance. Now, I'm interested in those of you all who are in different parts of the country. I'm interested to hear of what wild edibles you could transplant to your bug out location that aren't already there. I'm curious. I'd like to hear, and I'd like to hear about it. Till next time, This is Big Country with Big Country Survival. I am signing out, and God bless.